Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session on Tech Tablet with me, Abidinisa Begum. And in today's session, as you can see, we're going to learn about area charts. And yeah, we have done a lot of charts before. What all, all the charts that we are learning here, we are learning so that, we can actually create them using Tableau. And I'm going to give you a few examples. And also, we are going to create an area chart using Tableau. So as you can see, that's the agenda, creating an area chart using Tableau, and also we'll learn about what is area chart. I'm sure we all know and we have an idea about that, but definitely we need to learn and we need to revise, as this Tableau course, it comprises of a complete detailed knowledge of every aspect of Tableau. So as we know, Tableau is actually created for data visualization, and we are creating these visualizations using different charts and graphs. So that is the reason why we require to learn about each of the charts. Now when we know where are we using these charts, that is when you can decide which chart would you like to use to to present or to create a presentation. And that presentation can be anything: a presentation to your students, a presentation to your manager, a presentation to a client, anything. And when you are showing these presentations, you will require graphs. That is where Tableau comes into picture and makes creating these visualization easy for you. Before we move ahead, let me just introduce myself to you for those who have not watched the videos before. My name is Abidinisa Begum. I'm a technical trainer. I give training on different programming languages, R and Python for data science, and Tableau for data visualization. So yeah, I think that's all for now. Let's just move ahead and directly jump into area chart. So what is an area chart? As you can see here, area chart is actually a line chart. See, you can see this line. So if you remember what was there in a line chart, you can understand just by looking at it. So it's a line chart in terms of how data values are plotted on this chart. And these points or these values, they are connected using the several segments. So in an area chart, however, the area between the line segments, these line segments, and the plotted points that we have plotted is filled with color. Now, an area chart is a good choice when you want to see the volume change over a period of time. As you can see, period of time. So similarly, when you are using a line chart, you use it for a period of time. But then in this, you do it without focusing on specific data values. This gives us a sense of summation of our quantitative data. Now, why do we even need an area chart? So first thing, you can add sense of volume to your data. Now, when I say adds, this adds a sense of volume to our data, I mean they are primarily used when summation of quantitative data. Now, what is quantitative data? It's a dependent variable. This has to be communicated rather than individual data values. So the area underneath the line here, it helps in graphically depicting the quantitative progression over time, right? I hope that makes sense here and you are able to understand. If you are not able to understand anything, do not worry, just message me in the comment section so that I can reply to your queries. Now, second use of area chart is, you can see part to whole relationships between different groups. So the distinctive feature of a particular area chart, that is the filling here between the line segments on the x-axis to why are you doing this? To emphasize the magnitude. Now when rendered with stacked data plots, this area chart, it serves well for a part to whole analysis of each category. What do I mean by that? Member of any category can be summed on any common quantitative variable, and also the same can be stacked to see contribution of each member to total. So if y-axis is percentage, stacked area also helps in knowing the trend of percentage shared by each group, right? Now coming to another use of area chart. So you can analyze trend of magnitude of this quantitative data. Now what is our quantitative data again? Remember, or if you want to write it somewhere, do write it. When I'm saying quantitative data in an area chart, I mean dependent variable. I hope you all know what is a dependent and what is an independent variable. So let me just give you an example here. For example, if you want to, check the, or, give a price of a particular land. Now, the how do you do that? Mostly it is based on the area of that land, right? So the price of the land, it depends upon the area of the land. So this price is my dependent variable, and area of the line is an independent variable. And this example is really common. I'm sure whenever you learn about dependent and independent variables, this is the most popular example. Or else you can also think about a person's experience and his salary. So as the experience of a person increases, definitely his salary also increases, right? So that's how we work with dependent and independent variables. Now, why did I even come to this point of explaining you about dependent variable and an independent variable? Because I was going to explain you about the third usage of area chart. There are definitely a lot of usages, or a lot of uses actually. So I'm just going to mention a few here. So the next one is analyzing trend of magnitude of a quantitative data. So what happens here, the filling between the line segments and the axis line, it facilitates understanding. So what do you understand here? The magnitude. So this is something which cannot be done using a line chart, right? So this chart works better when used to plot a smaller number of data values so that, the entire area is colored. Now, just to help you get the gist of it, let me give you another use. So you can compare trend or proportion of each category in your data, right? So area charts, what do? They give a clear and concise picture of each group's performance trends separately. So one glance at the stacked area chart, it gives us a clear understanding of how it is. So this is not stacked, but we will also learn in our further classes how to create stacked area charts as well. And we will be creating an area chart in Tableau. So if you are a businessman and you want to use an area chart, so what are the uses in different businesses of area chart, right? So it can be comparison of contribution of multiple members of a group, or if you want to call it by data set, of a category. And you can also distinguish the relative part to whole magnitude of a trend component. But like everything else, area chart also has its own limitations. So everything has its own pros and cons. So we'll have to focus on everything, each of them. So now we know what are the several advantages. Let's have a look at a few disadvantages too. Area chart, they are only useful for comparing trends and not exact values, right? So reading exact data values from an area chart is not something easy. Where even these charts, they have overlap data points, it makes it very difficult to make out where a data plot begins and also where it ends. So when you are setting colors and transparency to appropriate values, the overlap data plots can be made readable with stacked data plots. So the solutions are even more limited. Area charts, they are also ambiguous to read, and the data values are very far apart. Now, the another limitation is it works efficiently only for smaller number of groups. So when you want to render multiple categories on an area chart, this will make it difficult for a user to understand the data. Now, in a chart, if the data plots are overlapped, more the number of categories, more the overlapping, and consequently lesser the visibility, obviously. Now, the stacked chart is comparatively easier to read than the overlapped one. Yet it certainly takes considerably more effort in in reading ones with many categories. So that is when it is the chart has, especially the chart with just has just two categories. So what am I trying to say here is, area chart, it takes considerably more effort in reading the ones. Which area chart am I talking about? The stacked area chart. So it takes more effort in reading the ones with many categories than it took for a chart with just two categories. So for multiple categories, you might want to use just a line chart instead. There are a few points that I want you to remember so that you can create while you are creating a area chart. So first, start the y-axis at 0 to accurately reflect the proportionate difference in data. So you might as well want to write these because these are some terms that I have not mentioned here. So you can just write about these. You can start the y-axis at 0 so that you can accurately reflect the proportionate difference in data. You can use contrasting and transparent colors to improve readability. Now, when you're stacking, you can keep highly variable data on top of the chart and low variable data at bottom. What are stacked area charts? As I told you, we will learn about them further. Now, if you have to show part to whole relationship in any case, then cumulative total is unimportant. It is best to use 100% stacked area charts. There are different area charts, different variants of them. So let's not talk about them in detail, but I'll definitely give you the name of these names of these and also where you can use them. So first is area with multiple series, and where you can use them, you can use when you are creating a chart for cost versus revenue magnitude over a time for a particular company, export versus import magnitude over a time for a nation, birth and death counts over a time for a region, and so on. There is another variant here, it's called as area with scrolling. Now, where do you use these? You can count debts over time for a country, federal bank reserves over 5 decades, volume of trade of a particular stock. So, if you can just write these down, you can understand what are the differences. Now, I want you to mention the main differences about each of them, right? The simple spline area. Where do you use it? You can use it to see if for your web visits in a month. If you have your own YouTube channel, you will see these kind of charts over there. Sales revenue for multiple quarters, forest spread area, defense expenditure, volume of oil import, etc. are example for these. Now, we just saw what is simple spline area. There is also a spline area chart with multiple series, and where is it used? It's used to know the spread of urban area and rural area, spread of hot days and cold days in a particular region, right? So if area chart is understood, even if it is not understood, do let me know in the comment section and I will definitely explain that to you, right? So let's just start creating an area chart. So what you will have to do, if you want to do along with me, you can do as well, because I'm going to explain or direct each and every step that I'm doing. Okay, so we'll create two area charts today. So for the first one, we'll be using the global superstore data. And for the second one, we'll be using the superstore US data. So in the global superstore data, we have data from global data, as the name itself suggests. And in superstore US, we have only the data from US. So let's just take this. Here is the global superstore data. So just selecting that. And for those of you who hasn't watched the previous videos, go through them as well. And I'm explaining each and every step again, because there could be some people, some of you who haven't seen these videos before, who haven't been watching the complete series, but they have just joined out of, out of their interest. Maybe they want to know how to use Tableau. So for the ones who are watching it first time, this is how you do it. You just select after opening to Tableau Public. Right after opening Tableau Public, this is the screen that you'll be watching, and you can just connect the data that you want. And then here we are. Now from here, from your data set or from your Excel sheet, there are different sheets in that in your Excel. So, or in your data set. So you can just select the sheet that you want to use. So here I want to use orders, and thus I'm using that. Now that's enough for now. So I can just move to creating a worksheet. I'll create on sheet 1 here. It is going to take time because the data is huge. So if it takes time to load, do not worry. Your data could be really big for this to load, right? It will take just 4 to 5 seconds, so do not panic. Now, what we'll be doing is these are columns and rows. So based upon these, we'll be creating our area chart. So what do I want in my rows? I want quantity. So meanwhile, I am creating these. I want you guys to just keep commenting and let me know where do we take the dimensions and where do we take the measures. So we have our columns and rows here, and we have some dimensions and measures here. So do you take dimensions and measures in rows, or dimensions in rows, or measures in rows, or where do you take which one? I want you to comment in the below section. If you're not able to do it, I'll answer this question in the next video. Do not forget to watch the next one if you want an answer to this one, right? So, and also just give it a wild guess if, and do not Google it. Whatever you think it is, you can just mention it, because we have been doing these graphs for a while now, so I'm sure it will be easier for you to answer me. Now I have taken the quantity in the column section, and I'm taking the date into the rows. Or let's just replace it. I'll take this over here, and I do not want a year. I want it in months. So what will I do? I'll just click on this, and I will use month instead. Right? So you can see my line chart is created. Now what do I want to do? I'll just take the shipping mode and I'll put it into color. Now I want to create area chart. That is why I'm selecting an area chart from the show me section. Or I can also select one from here. Okay. So this is how my chart looks like. This is the stacked area chart I was talking about, right? So we have different values here. Now you can actually, label them as well. So you can just put shipping mode into the label, and you can see first class, second class, standard class, and this is how it goes, right? You can change the alignment of them. How do you want to align them? So if you want to align them like this, that's also fine. You can align them like this, and however you want to align them in this way, you would everything, you can just change that. And you can even want, if you want to change the colors, you can change the colors too, right? So yeah, this is one chart. Let's just try to create another chart as well. But for this, I'll be using another data set. That is Superstore US. Now coming to this data set, I'll be taking the orders again. Now going to sheet 2. So you can see I have selected two data sets. So the first chart that we did was with Global Superstore. The second chart is with Superstore US. So you can see both, and you can just click on the one that you want to select instead. So I'm taking the Superstore US, and from this, again, I'm going to take shipping date and I'm going to put it in rows. And then I'm going to take quantity ordered new. And then this is what I'm going to take in my columns. This one, I'll make sure that this is again month. Now, I'll just take the color product category and put it into colors. Now, this doesn't really look good. Let's just click on the area chart. This still doesn't look good. So I'll just try to swap. This is how you swap. You can change it. You can put in your columns, you can put the months in your rows, you can put it here. Right? And so how this is how the chart looks like. And this looks much better than the previous one, right? Again, we did the same thing. We just did not take the shipping mode. We just took the product category instead. And this is how it came out. Now it's up to you if you want to label it or if you do not wish to label it. That's how it is, as simple as this to create an area chart. So what do you see here? You can see these are the different categories of the products that we have, and these are how they were ordered new over a period of time in these months. I have taken months. What all can I take instead? That is for quantity. Now this is for the month. So I might also want to take it for a quarter, right? This will be a smaller graph. Or I might also want to take it for a year. This will really not make any sense. So either I can take through month, right? This looks a better one. So here, what did I do? I just changed it to up to this particular year only, right? So you can see month of shipping date, this particular month. in this particular year. I'm sorry, it's 2015 where we got this data in. So this is how the area chart looks like. So I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any doubts, do not hesitate to ask me, and just mention it in the comment section and I would reply to you. Thank you very much for being with me throughout this session, and if you find this session helpful, do not forget to share. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Happy learning.